So in this video, I'm going to try to even things out, like a yin and yang. I've been doing a lot of the pain and suffering I've received over the years in these videos. And that's because the reason why I'm doing these videos is to document in the book what my life was like. Also, because I'm probably going to be paralyzed or not be able to walk or talk really well soon. So while I still have some ability to talk, it's a good idea to record the stuff that might have harmed me and caused my injuries in the first place, because that's what's most important, is understanding the injury so I can go to the doctors. But there is a good side to my mother and father. 50% of my mother was wanting attention, wanting this rush, oh, I'm a good person, or hurting or trying to act like a doctor, playing doctor, poisoning me, causing damage, covering up her mistakes, avoiding responsibility. But the other 50% was spend my husband's money on other people because I'm such a caring person. I need that rush. I need that type of attention, but that attention she needed usually came after she was doing a good deed. So she donates, a bunch of she donates 10 grand worth of stuff from her basement to a church. That's a good deed. It's for the attention for her, but yes, it's a good deed. So keep that in mind. My mother was very giving. She did give a lot. She was a nurse for a while, but she ended up getting, not fired. She couldn't work there no more because she didn't pass the paperwork, but there was more to it than that. A lot more. She was getting really unstable by the end, and I'm guessing her work saw quite a bit of it because her home did too. But she did try to hide it out in public. So, I mean, my father and mother, they were they got their own stuff going on, but I got to see their own stuff. They always do. The sons, the daughters, the brothers, the bosses, your coworkers, they're usually the people that know you best if you spend time with them. It's whoever you're spending the most time with. Like, for instance, my father knows nothing about me. He has no idea. His new wife is even worse at it. She knows nothing of what I'm like, what I do. She has no clue what my interests are, why I behave the way I do. Why is this? Because they never spent enough time to get to know me. For the last 20 years or so, or no, sorry, last 15 years, I've been in programs only seeing my mother and father for 8 days a month. Then my mother died and I got thrown out. So there wasn't much bonding being done from age 15 to 19. I spent 19 to 23 in the woods, or 19 to 22 in the woods. Then I started going to a rehab facility that actually came with a lot of strings attached. And I did that because I had to get off the alcohol and stop the shakes and the pattern I was in. It was just a whole downside. Even when I tried to live with them for 6 months during summer, it was just complete nonsense through them. Like, they wanted to treat me like a sex offender because I woke them up in the middle of the night and told them their daughter was crying. I'm not even kidding. Not even kidding. This was complete nonsense. They were literally acting inappropriately, always. Like, here's another one. I was playing video games and I sucked on a whipped cream thing. I just sucked on it, with a doubt. And they came back later and I sucked it all out. There was no whipped cream left. And they made a whole story about I must be whipping it. I've done whippets. I've actually done whippets as a teenager. For one can isn't enough. You can't get a buzz off one can. That is ridiculous. And I work at Hannaford's where they sell racks of whipped cream. I could just bring home 4 whipped creams, even though you still probably need a little more than 4. 4 is usually the minimum. But I know what whipping is, and that's not it. That's not what whipping is. That's not enough. That's very clear. But they don't want to listen. And this is the problem. They don't know me. They don't know also I believe in 100% honesty. If I do something like that, I would just come clean with it. I don't like looking over my shoulder. If I take something, I usually come clean with it. But not if people are trying to twist the truth. If people are twisting a whole story, I am not going to go along with your twisted lies. And that's a big problem. So now we're going to go back on trying to do the yin and yang, painting my father as a better person. But you have to keep that in mind too. My father and his new wife, who just got involved when I was 19, have not spent any time with me. I've lived in a program from 15 to 18. I lived in another program to 18 to about 19 and a half, something like that. Then they got me thrown out of there. I moved into my home to take care of my mother. And then my father remarried after she passed away, did a bunch of crazy stuff then, and then threw my ass out because I took a bunch of illegal drugs his new wife had in the closet. And that was my bad. I should have never took somebody else's illegal drugs. That is not right of me. I shouldn't have been taking drugs at all. I was not quite all there at the time. My mother just died. My father's acting crazy, and I didn't know how to deal with it. I didn't know that I should have been bringing this up to my father, going to the police, maybe trying to do something at that time to try to get those meds out of there. Like if I knew there was illegal drugs in the house, the best thing to do would have probably been made a police report out that I want to know why there's illegal drugs in the house. That's the proper adult way to handle it. You don't just take the illegal drugs and swallow them. No. And I know I couldn't bring it up to my father because one of his good qualities, and a bad quality too, is that he'll let his wife get away with anything. Murder, stabbing somebody, beating somebody, drugging somebody, hitting them with rulers, doesn't matter. Making up lies about somebody else, drinking too much, even killing themselves. If they have liver failure and they want to drink a martini, my father will allow it. Even if they're turning yellow and only 20% of their liver works, my father will allow them to drink. That is a good quality and a bad one. It's a good quality for his wives because they can do whatever they want and pretty much know that he's backing them. But it's a bad quality because it can get his daughters and family members hurt. It got me hurt. It hurt his grandson, my nephew Seth, when we were a little kid. I did a lot of things that I regret. I really do. When I was a child, I regret the older brother type person I was. He's 3 years younger than me, but by the way. But also, there was so much fucked up shit going on. I didn't know how to act at the age of 12. I mean, at the age of 12 years old, my mother brought me in the other room for nothing, by the way. Actually, there was nothing going on. She just made up a fantasy again, and she got really mad and drunk. She brought me in the other room, pulled out a ruler, and started smacking me in the face, smacking me in the back, smacking me everywhere. And this is with the corner, the sharp side of the ruler. So when I come out of this room from getting smacked, my nephew was watching this smacking. He was crying and crying, going, "Oh, it's not right, it's not right. Why did she smack you? You didn't do anything, it's not right." I said, "It's all right. This stuff happens all the time." She goes, "No, it's not all right. She shouldn't be smacking you with a metal ruler." I said, "It's plastic, it's all right." Now, there was a metal ruler that she was smacking me with, and I really don't remember if it was a really hard, thick plastic ruler. This was one of those thick, really hard, like construction ones, like really hard. Like you couldn't bend this thing, it was solid. Or if it was a skinny metal one that was sharp like a sword. Either way, it scared the fuck out of my nephew. He's crying. He's like 9 years old crying because he had to watch his uncle get beat with a ruler. That's fucked up shit. And I comforted him. That's not right. I should be the one crying. I'm getting a beating, but yet I'm comforting my nephew. But that scars my nephew's mind. He's never going to be able to get away, and that scars my mind. So then I am playing with them in trees, falling out of trees, and just crazy stuff. I'm falling in the glass, cutting myself with the glass after I fall with the glass. Why am I cutting myself with the glass? Because my mother is trying to make me seem like a self-harmer, and I'm trying to be goth. So goth is a lifestyle, and my mother already has that I'm a self-harmer, so I got to figure out what this is like. Now, I didn't like it. I didn't like the cutting part of it. It wasn't for me, but I'm numb, so I really couldn't feel much of it, so it didn't hurt too bad. But anyways, this is what my childhood was like. Craziness, craziness. And I wasn't a good uncle. I was a good uncle to my nephew Javier and my nephew Gabriella. Well, we're going to keep names out of this. Those are not correct names. No last names, no first names. Just keep in mind that these names will be changed multiple times throughout these videos. So if I say, I'll say younger niece, oldest nephew, youngest nephew, even though I have multiple of them, it can get confusing. And I'm trying to say this quickly because I'm already over the clock. But anyways, this is what you need to know. Everything was completely nuts. I was a nuts 12-year-old on drugs with a crazy mother manipulating me. I had a nephew scared shitless of all the craziness. I mean, he probably thought he was coming to a crazy funhouse. I got a crazy uncle and a crazy grandmother, and that sure affected him as well. So my father allowed her to get crazier and crazier as time went by. That's one of his qualities. But he's also very kind. He's very smart, intelligent. He is very giving, but mostly to his wife's charities or his church. He's also a very good driver. He's excellent at driving, even while on like 3 martinis. He's very good. I've watched the line while my mother drives drunk, and I've watched when my father drives drunk. And my father can drive drunk just fine. My mother can't drive drunk for shit. My brother goes too fast when he's buzzed. He needs to slow down when he's buzzed. I've watched all three of them while I'm in the car, drinking and driving, and I gotta say, my father's good at it. He stays the speed limit. He doesn't go over the white line. He seems to drive like he does, like he's not even drunk. But yet, then when you hear from his speech, you see him playing with his teeth. You see him in the couch, kind of nodding off. You know he is buzzed. So he's just really good when he's buzzed. So that's a great quality in my father. Most people can't handle their liquor. He can. He's like me and just wants to take a nap and see the room spin. That's it. Just where's the nearest chair? Where's the chair? I want to play with my teeth. I want to play with my shirt and put my head in my shirt, and I just want to take a nap. That's me, and my father's one of the only other people that I see respond with alcohol this way. So, anyways, my father's very good at handling alcohol. He's a very good driver, even when drunk, but he's even better driver just all the time. He shouldn't be driving at night because of the age, and he's older now. But even in his younger days, and probably even today, he was a really good driver. He's very intelligent. He reads really well. He used to read me bedtime stories. Well, when I was in the house, when I wasn't in the programs, when I'm, you know, when I was in Texas a little bit, in Westford a little bit, he would come in at night and read me a story. When I was in Texas, he would read me stories, and we were in Westford. But like I said, those are the only two normal times. And Westford got unnormal when my mother brought medications involved, and there was ups and downs and all that. But my father did read me bedtime stories in Westford and in Texas. The rest of the time, there was a lot of nonsense going on. He also had this chin rub thing where he used to rub me with his chin, and I used to love it. So my father, he's a loving guy, but he has a line which he keeps on crossing for profit or for his wives. I'm not quite sure why he crosses this line, because I know he wouldn't want to do these things, but he somehow getting fooled into doing these horrible things, like letting a child pass out at his feet on a pile of newspapers, having trouble breathing while his wife is on the phone with an emergency person, and then she hangs up the phone and says they don't know what they're talking about because they told her to bring me in an ambulance, and then she leaves me there to die. I don't think my father wanted that to happen that night, but he allowed it to happen that night. Then, when I brought it up in the doctor's office, he turned white, speechless. So did my mother. The doctor asked questions. He stayed quiet. He heard my mother's answers. He heard what I had to say, and he heard the doctor's questions. He must have known something was really wrong. His wife did something really wrong, and he must have known that. He was smart enough to know that his wife was lying again. But he knew that he wasn't going to go past her or try to hold her up to her standards and say, no, I want real answers. He wasn't going to demand any answers. Nope, he was going to go with the flow again, because that's what you do with your wives. You go with the flow, apparently. But see, I believe there's two different flows. There's long-term loyalty and short-term loyalty. And I learned the lesson. Now, this was about, I don't know, 9 years ago I learned this lesson, and I'm keeping it in my mind for the next time I date. Long-term loyalty is more important than short-term loyalty. And that's just it. If your wife needs your help and you got to go against her only for a short time to give her the help she needs forever, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to be that long-term lover. You can't just do the short-term thing that's fun and easy. That's not loving somebody properly. And I learned that lesson. But I think my father, he had a little problems with that with my mother. I could see it when she was dying and drinking with a. I mean, she had 20% of her liver working, and I watched her with a martini in her hand. That's my cutoff. That's my holy shit, things have gone too far moment right there. But I don't know when my father will have this. Oh my God, things went too far. I mean, he should have had it at age 7, but he didn't. So, yes, one of his good qualities is that he backs his wives fully, but it's also a bad quality and it only gives short term loyalty. As far as the long term loyalty, his wives go further and further off the rails. But like I said, he does have a heart. He's also very religious. He goes to church every week. I don't know how much of that stuff he wants to follow. I don't know how much of that stuff he's really listening to, but I sure love it. And I'm learning more every day. The more I study religion, the more I double down in it. It's great. It's great for the soul, and doing God's work helps. Like for instance, when I'm sore and tired and I'm hurting, like I am every day, all I have to do is be spiritually filled. I did a good deed. I helped out the church. I helped out somebody in need. I got a hooker to stop prostituting, get off drugs, and join her family. I got a pregnant girl who in Lowell, who was young, got to go back with a family and keep her kid. I stopped the murder. You know, when things like that happen, and spiritually fills you, really does. When somebody has no way home, it's the last bus at night, and you pull out a bus ticket and say, "No problem, here you go," and they just hug you and go, "Oh my God, I thought I was going to get stuck down here. Nobody would give me even $1.50." Well, you really want the bus, right? Yeah. Well, there's the bus stop in front of my store. As long as I see you on the bus, I don't mind. I'm taking that same bus. Oh, and then I see him on the bus. I know he wasn't trying to get money out of me, because a lot of people use that to try to get money. And this is one thing I can't stand, is trying to be compared to somebody I'm not. I see a lot of my parents doing that. I think it has something to do with them not actually spending the time to get to know me. My own father doesn't know me, and his new wife, she's clueless. She loves spinning fantasies, and she never even spent the time to get to know me at any time. Not during childhood, not in the middle. That's the thing too. Everybody changes from the age of 2 years old to the age of 30 years old. There's a lot of changes in between there. At age 5, or at age 3, you're shitting your pants. But at age 10, you're learning math. But at age 16, you're learning how to drive. Then at age 21, you're learning how to hold your liquor and quit drinking. Then at the age of 30, you've already quit drinking, but now you want to, get a good job and a wife. Everything's different every couple years. You also can't hold children to adult standards. My father's very good at that one. Only with me, though. He never held my nephew or any other children to adult standards, just me. When I was 7 years old, I was held to adult standards. I'm not even kidding. Like to move to Texas is my fault at 7 years old. He holds me to an adult standard. He does this a lot. And because of that, it's contagious. I bet my own nephew would hold me to adult standards because I didn't treat him that well when we were really young. When we were like in Westford and I was age 7 and he was age 5, I was putting cold little race cars in his diaper. That's not nice of me to do. That's fucked up for me to do. When I was trying to skip a rock to the left and we were all skipping rocks, one of them slipped and hit him in the face to the right. I still feel guilty for that, even though I know I didn't do it on purpose. But still, my nervous system is fucked up. I was aiming to the left and I could have gone down more level. I was up too high. If I was down more level, then maybe even though it went to the right, it would have been in front of him. But I didn't think that it was going to go to the right because I wasn't taking in consideration my nervous system quite yet. At the age of about 18, I really started to think about this when it was time to drive a car. Because I never really considered it a big problem. Oh no, the rock flew where I wasn't aiming? No big deal. Oh, I tripped and fell? Get back on the bike. Oh, I tried to throw a basketball and it went right all the way to the right? That's weird, but who cares? But when it came to driving, I started to think for a second, oh shit. So I started trying to move my hands and movements or my feet that would be ways of driving, and I noticed I couldn't do it without twitching sometimes. I said, oh no. If I can't keep my legs from twitching by themselves on a gas pedal, or if I'm trying to make a right turn and my arms twitch to the left, that's going to cause me to spin out. I can't do that. So then I really started to consider, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, this has to be handled. I have to get my mother to handle this. I have to handle this. Oh shit. I don't know how to. I don't know. My mother hid this. She's done all. How the fuck do I get people to listen now? Then my mother starts drinking and drugging herself to death. She passes away. I get thrown out to the woods to live. And by the way, they dropped me off at a shelter, but I can't use the shelter because I'm too disabled and it's not, my disabilities aren't properly documented. So, anyways, I'm going to stop this at part one because this is getting not too much good about my father. It's getting too descriptive of me and me and all the things that are hurting me. And the reason why is as I'm trying to say this, my kidneys are throbbing. My back is like shocking me as I talk with each word. It's not a fun thing to do, and I'm not even standing up or using any stimulus around me. This is with me having no stimulus around me. If I turn on like a radio and some lights and try to stand up, forget it.